Hi everyone, it's Marisa from BumblebeeApothecary.com, and today I'm going to show you how I make mozzarella cheese. Let me try that again. Marisa. Okay, I'm going to say that last part again. So let's jump right in. So I'm excited to show you this. It's really easy and fast when it comes to cheese making. A lot of you guys have been asking about it, and so I'm excited to show you how I do it. So let's jump right in. So to make your own cheese, you're going to need milk, you're going to need citric acid, you're going to need rennet. This can be a tablet rennet or it can be liquid cheese making rennet. I find that I have the best results when I'm using liquid rennet, and I will have links down below for where you can buy all the things that you're going to need. You're also going to need a good thermometer that works well for taking a temperature of milk. So this is like a yogurt making thermometer that I'm going to use. You're going to need a knife for slicing, a large spoon for stirring, and a big pot. So let's go ahead and start. Whenever you're making cheese, it's really important to keep the work area and everything very, very clean. So you want to wipe everything down, sanitize everything, make sure everything's super clean before you start. So I'm going to start by adding 1/4 of a teaspoon of my liquid rennet into a 1/4 of a cup of water. And setting that aside, if you're using a tablet, you would crush it and dissolve it in a 1/4 cup of water. Next, I'm going to add 1½ teaspoons of citric acid to 1 cup of water. And then I'm going to let that dissolve. So I'm just stirring it until I see that the citric acid has dissolved into the water. Okay, now that that's completely dissolved, I'm going to go ahead and pour the water with the citric acid in it into my pot. And then I'm going to go ahead and pour my milk into the pot with the citric acid water. So I'm using 1 gallon of milk. This is raw milk, which is very ideal. If you had to use pasteurized milk, you could. Ultra pasteurized milk doesn't work very well, I've heard. And if you're like me, you wouldn't be using ultra pasteurized milk anyway. So. Next, I'm going to move the pot with the milk and the citric acid water over onto the stove, and we're going to start heating up the milk. We're going to bring it up to between 90 and 100 degrees. 95 degrees is a good place. And I'm going to stir it periodically to just kind of keep it moving to help it as it heats, and then I'm going to be checking the temperature with the thermometer every now and then. Depending on your stove, this step might take a little bit, so you just have to be patient and keep checking the temperature. And it is common, and it's a good sign if you see the milk start to curdle a little bit as you're heating it up. Okay, we are almost there. We are at our desired temperature of about 95 degrees. So we're going to remove the pan from the heat. Okay, now at this point we're going to pour in the water with the rennet in it, and then we're going to stir for 30 seconds and then stop. Now we're going to leave the pot undisturbed for 5 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer. And then once the timer has gone off for 5 minutes, we're going to check it, and it should look like custard, like a thick, I'll show it to you, but it'll be a thick look with a clear separation of whey. Sometimes it needs another 30 seconds or so, but we'll check it and see. Okay, the 5 minutes is up, so now you can see that it's a thickness, right, that you can actually cut a knife through. So what we're going to do is to cut it into a checkerboard pattern with about 1 inch squares. And then we're going to need our thermometer again. We're going to put the pot back on the stove and we're going to heat it up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And while we're heating, we're going to periodically be checking the temperature to watch it and make sure it's coming up to 110 degrees, and then also gently stirring at the same time. At the same time that I'm heating this and stirring it, I'm also heating up some water in my tea kettle because we're going to need that for the stretching phase. We're almost there. Okay, now that it has come up to 110 degrees, I'm going to take the pot off the burner again. I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going to just continue slowly stirring for 5 minutes. You can see as I'm stirring that it's separating now into a lump of cheese. You can see that really come together really well now. All right, now that that 5 minutes is done, you can see that it is a nice solid piece of cheese that's come together. So now we're going to just take it with the slotted spoon, take it out of the whey and put it into a colander. So I have a colander over top of another bowl. So this cheese making whey can be used for different things. You could add it when you're making soup. You could feed it to animals, chickens, pigs, dogs, whoever would like it. So yeah, definitely don't throw it out. You can even water plants with it. So then next what we're going to do is just let it sit here in the colander for a few minutes. If it's too soft to really come together very well, if it's still more like separate curds, then just scoop them all out of the whey and then have them sit in here for a little bit longer until it comes together. But whenever it has come together like this into a nice solid one piece, then you're going to use very clean hands. You can wear gloves if you're more comfortable with that, but I'm okay with clean hands. And you're just going to kind of knead it and try to press out as much whey as you can from it. So the amount of time that you spend on this will determine how like firm and dry the finished cheese is. You can rush through this step if you're in a hurry. I've done that before. The only thing that happens is later, if you're using mozzarella on something or in a recipe, then you'll notice that there tends to be some whey still dripping out of it. So not a huge deal, but if you have the time to spend kind of pressing the whey out at this stage, then that will result in more of a firm, dry cheese when it's finished. So just kind of working it, kneading it, kind of like dough actually, just pressing out whey. Oh, another thing that you can use the whey for is liquid in any type of a baking recipe as well. So remember that it's going to have an acidity to it, so that's going to help to react with any kind of rising agents in baking as well. Now at this point, I'm going to pour some hot water into a separate bowl. And then I'm going to put the cheese into the hot water. Okay, so I just have it for a short amount of time in the hot water, and then pour the hot water out, and then I'm just going to work it, letting it kind of cool down again. Getting it hot like that just helps it become stretchier. And so I'm just working it. I want it to pull away from the bowl cleanly, and then I'll put it back into my colander and work it some more there. So as soon as I can scrape it pretty well out of the glass bowl, I'll put it back into the colander. And then, yeah, it's cool enough to work with your hand again now. Working at it, squeezing out the whey. Ton collected, but pour that into the pot with the rest of the whey. Now again, the rest of this process is up to you how much time you want to spend with it. So what you're looking for is mozzarella that will stretch like taffy. So this is pretty good. It is starting to break, but we could, if we wanted to, keep getting it more stretchy and keep getting more whey out of it. So you can do 1 or 2 more times in the hot water if you want to, and then just keep kneading it and pressing whey out of it. I personally am good with it as it is now because that's pretty stretchy. I've gotten a lot of whey out of it. For our use, then I would say that that is pretty much done, just like that. I will usually just slice it thinly once it's chilled in the refrigerator and then just put it on pizzas or whatever I'm using it on that way, just in pieces, and then when you bake it and heat it, it melts. So that's what I do. So pretty fast and easy. And this is optional too, but during part of the kneading stage, if you'd like to, you can add a sprinkle of salt just to kind of help enhance the flavor, and work that into the cheese as well when you're kneading it. So then from here you can move it into a bowl of ice water, and you can wrap it in something. Some people use plastic wrap, but I usually stay away from that. So you could use something like a beeswax wrap or something to keep it in the refrigerator, and it's ready to eat and enjoy right away. So you can chill it or you can use it in your recipe right away, either way. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing how I make mozzarella cheese. Be sure and check out that description box for links to all the supplies that you'll need to do this yourself. As soon as I have it, I will have the written recipe up on my website, bumblebeeapothecary.com. I'm working as fast as I can to get all the written versions of all my recipes up there as well. Also, check out that description box for links to new meal plans that I have released. And definitely keep the video ideas coming. I always love hearing what kind of videos you guys want to see. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else who you think would also like it, and if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I get out new videos every week on nourishing recipes and natural living. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.